This is on the other side of what we do. Because we've talked about managing finances and investing, and one of the things that, investing is a hard thing to get into. There's always the whole having multiple jobs, but even that will wear on you. The side
when I say that stuff, that's more for young people, because younger guys have that motor. We don't.
Yeah. The side hustle is all the rage, but no, the side hustle is a huge part of the modern economy today.
You gotta have one.
What are some good side hustles that we may not have covered or mentioned previously, and what makes them worthwhile?
Well, again, I gotta go by age and income level. Like, if you're somebody who has 10 to 20 to 30 grand disposable income, you should be looking to invest in property.
Facts.
Rental units, houses, fixer-uppers, whatever you want to get into, you should be getting into that, because the main point of a side hustle is not to, become super duper wealthy. It's to have your money start working for you so that you don't have to work so hard in your main hustle. Like, it's a side hustle. It's just like a relationship, like a side chick. Your side chick is not to replace your main chick. She's to alleviate the main chick. She's taking off the burden that the main chick sometimes can't handle. And we all know what burden I mean, guys. But that's what a side hustle, as far as a job, should be doing. That's your main income, making more money so you don't have to work so much or so hard. Like, when I say in your 20s, you shouldn't be working less than 50 hours a week. Once your side hustle starts taking off, you can do that. You can decrease your hours. You can, even maybe if your side hustle is so lucrative, that could be your main hustle and something else could be your side hustle. You gotta divest your portfolio. Like, look at some of the wealthiest people in entertainment, for example. Like, Kevin Hart is not the funniest comedian. He's never going to be number one comedian of all time on anybody's list. I don't care. If you say that, I don't believe you. If you say Kevin Hart is the funniest person you've ever heard, I don't believe you.
You're lying.
But there is no comedian in the game at the top of the list that says Kevin Hart works less than them. They all say he works harder than them. He will do his comedy specials. He has his own podcasting network. He has a bunch of other comedians that he dabbles with, that he brings around the world, that he writes for, and they help him write. He is a movie producer. He has his own movie studio. He has producing credits. He has, clothing lines. There's not a thing that he doesn't have his toes dipped into. Why? Because you want to make your money work for you. You want to have it invested in a bunch of different things, because this pandemic taught us, if you only have one source of income and that income goes away, what are you going to do? You're screwed. But if you have 3, 4, 5 sources of income, generally they all won't go away at the same time. That's the key to longevity. Another famous comedian, Joe Rogan, he's given over the same thing. He started off as just a comedian. Then he went into acting. Then he started doing UFC interviews and commentary. Then he has his podcast take on. He has so many different things that now he can choose what he wants to invest his time into. He doesn't have to be forced to do one thing.
He became the number one podcaster, like, by leaps and bounds.
For fun. He wasn't getting paid for years. That podcasting, and I don't think he even knew it was going to become what it is today, but he wasn't doing it to make money. He was doing it because it was fun.
He's got to get a lot of credit. He's got to get a lot of credit for the business in general.
It was getting him exposure. It was getting him better booking on gigs. It was helping his main business. And then it became a side hustle on its own. It became something that accentuated. That's what a lot of comedians do now. They'll have their podcast, which opens up their audience, which gets more ticket sales. It's a circle. That's what you got to look at your side hustle as. It's something to fulfill and sustain your income long term on the side. It helps fill up that bubble. You're right now, if you only work one job, that is a 100% of that bubble. That is 100% of your income bubble. When you get your side hustle, it becomes a percentage less. It may be 5% less, it may be 10% less, it may be 20, however great that side hustle is. But the point is you're alleviating the stress you have to deal with. So again, if you have disposable income, property is the best way to go. It is a foolproof plan. If you, for example, have, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand available to you, you can buy 2 rental properties. Rent out those properties. That is income coming in every month if you're doing it properly. Don't be an a-hole and be a slumlord. Don't, and on the flip side, don't be an a-hole and not do your research either and just let anybody rent from you. Do your research, know what you're getting into, read, and do your due diligence, and that money will just come in. It's just every month you will have an extra paycheck, basically. Another side hustle, we've talked about the stock market, we talked about crypto. Those are a little bit harder to get into. But what's not hard to get into is these off-hour gigs that you can just pick up and drop whenever you want. Uber, DoorDash, Lyft, these companies have made it so that when someone has a 3-4 hour window, you can just sign on for that time and sign off. There's no schedule.
Yeah.
You don't have to put in 20 hours per week or 40 hours per week or whatever, is mandated by your main job.
There's no clock in.
Yeah, you make the time that you make and you make the money that you make conversely. So if you are a young guy with a car and you don't want to get another full-time job, sign up for Uber, like clean out your car, sign up for Uber, and 2 hours per night, you can just drive people around and you can substantiate your income. That could be a complete side hustle right there. If you don't like human beings like myself, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Grubhub. It's literally the same thing. Instacart. There's so many different options for driving and delivery where you can turn that free time that you have, whenever you have it, whenever you decide to do it, and just turn that into cash.
Now you got income. Amazon trucks doing it too.
Yeah. Why? Because it's cost effective. Why would they hire an entire delivery force when they can pay Joe 3 hours, Jack 6 hours, Samantha 4 hours? You just, whatever you feel like doing it, you do it. I would set up a schedule and make it a permanent, like make it a fixed part of your life. But if you do have the option of saying, you know what, I don't want to drive Thursday, I'll make up the hours on Saturday, whatever. Right. You can figure it out. You can easily supplement your income by doing something as simple as that. You go on their website, it's not a long process.
And just to sort of spin off from what you were just saying before, this is extra, this is supplemental income. It'll make things easier on the bills, but when you consider that this is extra, what are you going to do with that extra? Okay. If you made an extra $200 this week, don't spend that on beer. Like, that's not $200 for you to take some girl out on a date. That's what you put in to maybe crypto, or maybe if you're looking to invest, that's when you start researching it. You have a little bit of extra each week that, don't put it in a savings account. That's not going to add anything to it. But this is for those who don't have 10,000 extra dollars that they can make their money, that amount of money work for them and invest in property. You're going to start off small. You're going to learn along the way. You got to be willing to listen to people, and you got to be willing to do some research and find this stuff out. But you start with the hard work first.
I'm not even gonna, like, you gotta have fun every once in a while. I get it. We talked about budgets. We talked about stuff like that. That's always, something that everybody should have. You should always have a budget. You should always know what you're getting into. When I'm saying this income, this shouldn't be something that you're touching.
Right.
This should be something that you're building a nest egg with. It shouldn't be something that you're like you dip into it when you have to. But I always like to give examples and real life analogies. Rob Gronkowski is a fucking idiot. If you don't know who Rob Gronkowski is, he was a New England Patriots tight end. He's one of the greatest tight ends of all time in football. He has a whole party cruise he does. He's that typical jock party personality. But you know what he also said? I haven't touched $1 of my football money yet. He's already on year like 12. He's never touched $1 of his football money. Why? He's lived off his endorsement money. He's lived off his advertisement money. He's lived off his investments. He doesn't like his football. His main career is his side hustle money. Why could you have that nest egg? You need to have a piece of income that you're not touching, because if you're touching it, it's going away. You got to have something set aside to build off of, and it needs to be making you more money. The point is, you got to get that money first, and that's where these side hustles come from.
Yeah.
So do your due diligence. You may not have a car, you may not want to drive. You gotta. One of the things we focus on here is bettering yourself. You gotta want to get your ass up and get a better life. If you don't see a problem with your life, you're never going to do anything about it. And I don't mean like it's oh my God, I'm going to be on the street in 3 days. That doesn't have to be that severe of a problem. If you don't have as much money as you want to, that's a problem. That's a simple, like, if you're not with the woman you want to be with, that's a problem. You got to do things to change those problems. I already talked about the woman part. This is the financial part. You can do quick, easy side hustles to get yourself up and get yourself situated in life. Like I said, if you got a lot of money, property. If you don't got a lot of money, look into one of those driving services. The last thing I'm going to go with, and I'm going to say this to every single person who has ever listened or will ever listen in the future. Don't ever look down on an income opportunity. I don't care how demeaning it is. I've seen in the past week, comedians have posted signs from McDonald's and Arby's and Burger King's where they'll have to put fancy messages and funny quotes to try to get people to apply for a job. Like one of them said, we give out a stimulus check every 2 weeks.
That's pretty good, man.
It is. And it shouldn't have to be that way. Like that's why this pandemic taught a lot of people. Some people don't want to work to make money.
Some people are too embarrassed.
Yeah, like people would rather starve. People would rather suffer. They would rather go through heartache and hardships and getting kicked out of places than to go down to McDonald's and say, "Hey, are you guys hiring?" Or Burger King, "Are you guys hiring?" And bust their ass on a fry machine and work 60 hours a week to make 75% of what they used to make. Do that. Like, don't be that guy who's above a job.
I mean, like, can I tell a really brief story and relates to this?
Yeah, let me just don't be that female that is above working at a place. You're not. Money's all spins the same, whether it comes from McDonald's or it comes from Goldman Sachs. It's the same money. So go ahead.
So, like, for the listening audience who remembers what I do for a living, I run a martial arts academy. And on the side, one of my side hustles is I happen to do Uber driving and Lyft driving, right? Now, the reason I do that is because around 4 or 5 years ago, I did a jiu-jitsu tournament in California, and I was staying in Anaheim. And I did a day pass at a jiu-jitsu gym just to get another day of training and to stay warm because the competition was in like 2 or 3 days. And just to sort of get a feel as to what the style of jiu-jitsu was like over there. And I really got really cool with the owner, and he was saying, like, he was just like, I love this, but it's not all glamour, and I do Uber on the side. And I followed him on social media and everything, and the guy's just he's a grinder. He works hard, and he still enjoys his life. He's into motorcycles and all this other stuff. So I was like, man, that's really something. So when I started doing this, I was just like, okay, I'm probably gonna have to do this. And that's how I got into it. So you can't look down on it. It's like people might see you running a business of your own, and they might think it's glamorous, right? And it's not, but it is yours. And
That's
the respect that people have for that, but they won't respect people who just do Uber and Lyft, and that's really
what I
kind of a
mean
shame.
about what this pandemic showed. Some people don't want to work.
Nope.
Some people don't, they want